shadow stretches, something we call volume control. This comes out of the LDI. This is how to recover the baby from the bathwater. We do a piece in the LDI, and this is an explanation for how to take the things from your shadow that you don't want to ever be or be seen as, and how to find the nugget, the gem, the jewel that might be in there. We have a metaphor in English, in America, that says, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like you've got a baby in a tub, and the water's old and dirty, and you throw the water out, oops, you also threw out the baby. So in order to keep from doing that, you have to be able to tell the difference. That's the baby, and that's the dirty bathwater. But what we have done quite often in our own lives is we have thrown something out, like let's say being domineering, or but in the process we threw out a baby, a precious baby, and in a second you'll see what that is. And we're going to switch the metaphor now from the baby in the bathwater to the volume control. Because what happens is sometimes a little less of a bad thing can become a good thing. Like for instance, this is a volume indicator here. So let's take something like domineering. Well, domineering or being a dictator. Okay, well, dictator for you might be over here. This is a bad thing. Should never, ever be a dictator. But what is there inside of the ability to be a dictator, that capacity? What is it that person is doing that if you turn the volume down a little bit would actually turn into something that every now and then might be really, really helpful for you to have? And in fact, you're probably right now missing those moments in your life when being a little more direct might be the right thing to do. You understand where we're going with this? Good. So here we go. This is the worksheet that we use where we work on the volume control. Over here, they're going to be deadly no-nos, the things from your shadow that you would never, ever want to have be present, the things ways you would never want to be seen. You would hope people would never talk about you this way. And then we're going to find a way to convert those, to magically change those from deadly no-nos into things that are crucial for your effectiveness. So over here, up to now, I've been avoiding being something like lazy. But my effectiveness could increase as I have the courage to what? Now, sometimes people do what we call a flip. They'll say, oh, I don't want to be lazy. I want to be more active. No. There has to be something like lazy over here. So what would it be? This is what we call a flip. You've turned it into its opposite. That's not what we want. This person who's concerned about being lazy probably already is very active. That's not the issue. What they have a problem doing is taking time to rest. See, you see how that works? So you have to have the quality that's here visible and contained over here. Let's take a few more examples. Let's say this person says, up to now I've avoided being weak. My effectiveness could increase as I have the courage to, what would you say? What is that weak people are really good at that every now and then it might be a smart thing, a healthy thing, a good thing for you to have access to? Well, if you can't be weak, it's going to be difficult for you to ask for help. Can you see how this works? Can you imagine being a human being, a manager, a leader, or a person in a relationship, and not being able to ask for help? Because every time you do, you think it's being weak, which you don't want to be. So this is crucial to your effectiveness as a human being or a leader or a parent or a friend or anything. Okay? Let's take this one. Up to now, I've avoided being domineering. My effectiveness could increase. I have the courage to take charge. Every now and then, you might benefit, and the people around you might benefit from you just saying, let's do it this way, or I want to do it this way, or come on guys, let's do this. Up to now, I've avoided being selfish. This is a frequent one on people's shadow lists. My effectiveness could increase as I have the courage to put my needs first. Every now and then, it would be a really wonderful thing to be able to say, just now in this moment, I'm going to do what I need to do for myself and not just take care of everybody else all the time. Quite often, this is a hard one for people. Up to now, I've avoided being irresponsible. My effectiveness could increase as I have the courage to let others lead, let others take it, let others, get it done. See how that works? Up to now, I've avoided being greedy. wanting more, wanting more, wanting more than I have. That's a hard one. But every now and then, my effectiveness might increase as I have the courage to enjoy having. I just got a new watch. Got a new watch for Christmas. And, I'm enjoying it. It feels kind of like I want this watch. I really want to have a great watch. And now I have this watch and I'm enjoying it. So I'm practicing the stretch. I'm not feeling guilty about really wanting this really nice watch. I'm enjoying it. And it feels really nice. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing, lightning hasn't struck me dead. I don't think I've turned into a bad person. In fact, I've turned into a person who enjoys what he has a little bit more. Up to now, I've avoided being useless. This one is on my shadow list, in fact. My effectiveness could increase as I have the courage to say, I can't. I just can't do this. Recently on a trip to Morocco, I was concerned about walking in the desert, 75 years old, trekking through the desert, 10 kilometers before lunch, 10 kilometers after lunch in the blistering heat and all that. And I was worried. And so one day I just said, you know what? I'm going to ride the camel. I got on the camel. Well, I'll tell you what, I just wanted to walk after about 5 minutes on the camel. But it was an admission. I admitted to myself and to the group, there's certain things I just can't do. That was very hard for me because I don't ever want to be useless. So these we call stretches because it's consciously stretching into a behavior that we don't want. Every time I think about saying I can't, I stop myself. Why? Because my programming tells me, don't do that. People might see you as useless, or you might see yourself as useless. Every time I think about taking time to rest, I go, no, can't do that. Why? Well, you might be seen as lazy. So this is why there's stretches, because I have to consciously make myself take a step in this direction in order to turn these deadly no-nos into things that are crucial for myself and my development as a human being. Here's your homework. We call it homework because it's work, it's inner work that takes you home. Home to yourself, home to who you really are, home to who you need to be. Here's a suggestion. Just take one shadow stretch each day and look for, moment to moment, how can I practice it? Each phone call, each conversation, each meeting that you're in, every conversation you're in, how can I practice this particular stretch today? Like, let's say it's the one on being useless, saying I can't do it. What if you just, or irresponsible, what if I let other people take this meeting and take responsibility? Make it a small step at first. In fact, the people around you may not even realize that you're practicing a stretch. It may just seem perfectly normal to them. And I would say this, do one today. Practice one and do it today. And then the next day take another one, and the next day take another one, and just practice. Make it fun. Stretch yourself. Become more and more and more every day of who you actually are, using the workplace as a place to practice.